Some people have called Stairway to Heaven the best chord progression ever written. I think I actually may have done that. Others have said maybe One by Metallica, potentially some classical piece by Bach or Mozart. I think what most people in the world would agree on, not just guitar players and musicians in general, but most people would agree that the most beautiful, gorgeous chord progression is a song called Hallelujah. If you've never heard of this song, you're in for a treat. It was made popular by a guy named Jeff Buckley, who, if you've never heard of Jeff Buckley, you're in for a treat. Go listen to everything he ever created. He's gone too soon. He was seriously one of the best musicians of all time, and he was on his way to becoming the best musician of all time, maybe. I want to give you a lesson today that is basically going to take that chord progression of Hallelujah and expand on it and find new ways to play it through various bits of music theory, and I'm going to basically give you a little glimpse of my process on how I figure these different things out. In that way you can better understand how to apply it to the music that you write or the songs that you like to play, and maybe spice them up in your own way. Now, if you're not familiar with music theory, or you'd like to learn more about it, or you do know a lot about music theory but you want to learn even more, check out Guitar Super System. It's my learning platform for guitar players. There's a link right down in the description for you to subscribe. And there's a big old fat update coming to the platform very soon. So I highly encourage you to get in on the action early so you can be ready for all the new goodness. So let's get to the chord progression. I'm going to play through just the basic chords, and just note that I have a capo on the 3rd fret. Do you say capo or capo? I say capo. Anyways, capo on the 3rd fret. I'm going to play you the chords, just basic open chords that you learn when you're first starting out guitar, and then I'm going to show you step by step how to expand on these chords. And I'm going to keep it pretty simple, so even if you aren't too familiar with different music theory jargon like the word interval or triad, I'll explain along the way. And if nothing else, you can let your ears do the thinking for you, because this is just a beautiful, awesome piece of music. Here it is. So, what do you think? If you've never heard that chord progression, pretty awesome, right? That is the total bare bones, stripped down version. That was just to kind of give you an idea of a very basic rendition of the harmony so you can see what we're working with. If it sounds that good with just basic chords like that, just wait until we start adding a little bit more nuance, which I'm going to show you now. So the first thing you can think about when you're trying to essentially embellish a little bit more on a chord progression are the smallest additions possible. You don't want to all of a sudden just start playing completely different chords and completely different areas of the neck, unless you're totally rearranging the song, then do whatever you want. But if you're trying to sort of stick to the original rendition per se, but also just give it a little bit more color, a little bit more flair, make it your own, there are a couple things you can do that don't take that much effort or movement for that matter. So we're not really even going to address the intro, this little part. We'll just leave that how it is, and we'll start with the first bit of the verse where the melody would come in. Again, this is a lesson on harmony. The melody obviously makes this song what it is, but I think the harmony by itself is still really awesome to learn and a great canvas for this lesson. So we have the C. There are a couple things to understand. With this C, we have access to a load of different intervals in this key. The first one to look at, especially with the shape, is the suspended fourth. So as we can see here, we have our root and our third, major third. You can tell because it sounds like a doorbell. now we have right next to the major third our perfect fourth. So we can keep our hand right here and hammer on with our pinky. That's going to be useful to us. Now where else do we have a suspended sound? If we take this major third and let go of it, that is the second, or the suspended second of C. It sounds a little dissonant, but in the context of the chord, so already, just by moving one finger, essentially, we have two really beautiful new sounds that don't negatively impact the harmony. In fact, I think they enhance it a little bit. So that's what we'll do with the C. We'll see if we can work in some of those suspended sounds as we progress through the progression. Next, we have this A minor chord. Now there's a lot of different things we can do with this. That's just our regular root position. I never really liked this position of A minor. I always find myself gravitating towards what would be the 5th fret if you're in standard tuning, but on the capo, it's up here on the 8th fret. I really like that chord shape, or just a nice triad. And the other great thing with the A is we have access to this open string. This is a root position triad, so we have the root, the minor third, and the 5th. In this chord, we have the root, 5th, root, minor third. So we're just transposing that up, and that is how you find triads, is you identify the intervals, the root, the third, and the 5th, whatever they may be, and find them in another spot on the neck. So if we check this one out, see we have this B note ringing, and again, remember, I'm referring to these not necessarily enharmonically correct, it's just I'm treating it as if I'm in standard tuning. So we have this open B, which is a 9. So we have the A, which is the root, here's the 5th, here is the minor third, there's that minor 9, and another 5th. And the cool thing about a minor chord like this is it gives you access to this pentatonic. So we have So you thought we were going to just stick to chords. We can add little licks and embellishments within the time that we have to play that chord in the progression. So for example, if the chord progression was just a C and an A minor on loop, I'll show you what I mean by that. So I really like that idea, but actually might include that. So that's what I mean, filling in the space, and guitar players are really good at filling in empty space, so you should have no problem doing that. And this is sort of a rinse-repeat process for the rest of the chords in this progression. So I'm gonna move a little bit quicker through the next little bit of chords, but now that you understand the method that you can take, at least for me. So the next prominent chord in this progression is an F major chord, and I've just been playing it like this. It's just a root position triad, major triad, root, major third, 5th. And again, we're gonna take the same approach. We can find a 9 in here. We can also find that sus4. And another cool thing that I like with the F major triad set in particular on this string set is the access to the open E right there. So with the E obviously is the major 7, so it turns it into a major 7 chord. So you can play it just, you know, with this triad. And and this triad, and between those two, you can really get some nice transitional harmonic color. So with the next chord being a G, we can actually move this up just a whole step, just like you would down here. We can do the same thing. And keep that E ringing. And an E against a G is a 13. So that's a nice, or a major 6, however you want to look at it. So that's a nice little color as well. So the chord progression has gone from pretty basic sounding now to something like this. Completely different, and obviously I'm taking my time embellishing the chord colors, but if you play it in time, it can really convey the same harmonic structure, but in your own way, and that's what I'm getting at. I'm not trying to reinvent this song. The song is perfect. I'm just showing you through a very recognizable sound what you can do with just a couple different tweaks and looking at it from a different perspective. Again, so you can apply this to any chord progression that you want to. It's just easier to work with chord progressions where you know what they're supposed to sound like, so you can sort of tinker with them in that way and be like, ah, that's too far out in the weeds, or oh, that sounds pretty sweet. With all of that said, I'm going to go through the rest of the chord progression now that you have the mindset and mentality to tackle something like this on your own, and I'm going to kind of come up with my own little version of Hallelujah. It's not going to be a better version, but it will be a different version, and that's all I'm going for. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Again, if you want to learn way more in-depth lessons on music theory, tips, tricks, techniques, anything guitar related, check out Guitar Super System. There's a link right down below. Thanks for watching and for your support, and I'll see you in the next video. But until then, keep shredding. Oh wait, I need that pick.